Right, so I had some homework to do where it was just basically writing about the background of Western philosophy and, like, the early influences to the entire scope of things. And it was basically just, writing out, the first six sort of philosophers from Thales to Aristotle. And, just little bits about them. And, it's hard to write just little bits about such prolific thinkers and such intense characters in, philosophy and history as a whole. Like, I'm hoping that over the course we do go into deeper detail and we don't just brush over them because, it's impossible to just brush over these people with the amount of information there is on them. They are people who spent their entire lives, who spent decades entirely dedicated to putting out information, and one or two lessons on a single person who spent 30 to 70 years doing the work of an ancient Greek philosopher, you are not going to cover, let alone understand any or all of it. And just for context, the three were Thales, Heraclitus, Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle. And the main point of this video is I want to kind of express my own what the hell over these people. So they were just normal people. Well, I mean, Socrates was definitely kind of insane, given the whole living on the streets. He didn't wear shoes either, and he just walked around chatting with anyone who would talk to him. But what I want to talk about, especially Pythagoras. Pythagoras is probably the most interesting and most hated. Pythagoras basically wanted to try and explain the world using only mathematics. And I know everyone knows the theory of, the Pythagoras theorem, which is, the two shorter sides of a right angle triangle squared will equal the hypotenuse, the length of it. And, it just is insane how these people, regardless of who it was, but in this case, Pythagoras, were just sat there one day thinking with the same brain that we have, nothing was different. Yet they come up with these such extravagant, crazy ideas. And of course there's going to be things not understood. Even to this day there's going to be things not understood. But how many years has it been since someone's had such a magnified discovery as Pythagoras, So that just shows how it's been hundreds of years since a more important discovery has come solely from the brain. He just realised that one day. It wasn't like he had computers. He didn't have a calculator. He had his fingers and his head. That was it. And he figured that out. Like, people want to say that we're more advanced. I think we're more distracted, we're more disturbed, we're more corrupted. Because if a person of that era can come up with these things, not just Pythagoras, Heracles too, Socrates, Plato, they can have these ideas from their heads, so profound, so abrupt, and so insane, but true, but still reigning true. Thousands of years later, they had these connotations, these concepts they created before the advent of tech, before the advent of advanced maths, before the advent of society as a general concept. They thought of these things, and they had the same brains. They were humans just as we are. They were no different. They could think of these things, which is mental, but makes perfect sense despite being absolutely ludicrous. We all can do it. We all could have some kind of discovery. We all could venture our minds to someplace else and trample upon new grounds. But unlike those people, unlike Socrates, unlike Plato, unlike Aristotle, we have diluted ourselves and our systems and our working so severely that we've inhibited that ability. It's like we built up this tolerance where now we no longer can feel the side effects, except it's not positive or negative side effects, it's necessary side effects. We no longer feel actual brain power. Our brains are just good at logical thinking. No longer are they good at critical thinking. We can look at something and say, yes, this is this, and yes, this is that, but we can't evaluate or assess. We've lost that skill over our conscious just divulgement and our tick, tick, tick of dopamine. There is not a person on earth living in a developed or developing country that doesn't have some kind of dopamine insufficiency. Has to be prevalent in every person. We have killed our senses. We can no longer act in the way we used to be able to, and it seems hereditary now because from such a young age it starts. Maybe there's some kind of inclination in the person already, or maybe it's just because we're provided so instantly with the sources. But either way, our brains are rotting. There's so much being thrown to them. The only way we can make progress is not to step forward, is not to push tech and double the capacity of mega data daily. Is to step back from all of that, to isolate yourself, to silence yourself, and to think with nothing but your brain. No influence, no inspiration other than brain on brain on brain. That's the only way we'll ever understand and figure out anything that means anything.